morning, beloved community. Welcome to the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Barbara Kane. I'm a licensed spiritual practitioner here with the center and with the Centers for Spiritual Living. And so I welcome you this morning. This morning's reading for the meditation is from Metaphysical Meditations by Paramahansa Yogananda. And so I'll do a brief reading and then we'll go into silent meditation for about 15 minutes and then I'll do a closing reading. So we begin. I worship God everywhere. I bow to the one infinite Father, differently manifesting in many churches of existence, and of all directed in its honor. I worship the one Spirit resting on the various altars of different teachings and religious faiths. Today I will worship God in deep silence and wait to hear His answers through my increasing peace of meditation. I will mingle my inner devotional whispers with the prayers of all saints and continuously offer them in temples of silence and activity until I can hear Spirit whispering loudly everywhere. This day shall be the best day of my life. Today I will start with a new determination to dedicate my devotion forever at the feet of the Omnipresent. And now let's go into silent meditation. is a blessing to the world. We turn our attention to that still small voice within that guides us, guards us, loves us, protects us. And I know that this day shall be the best day of my life, and so it is.
I was waiting and waiting for the little point that we've gone live, and I guess we've gone live. Hello, hi, welcome everybody to the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living. We're so glad that you are here, that you've joined us at 4 Points by Sheridan, or that you've invited us into your living rooms or bedrooms or kitchens or wherever you're sitting and watching us this morning. Thank you so very much. For those of you who might not know me, my name is Dusty Rippelmeyer, and I have the privilege and the honor of being this community spiritual director. We are part of a larger community called Centers for Spiritual Living. And at Centers for Spiritual Living, we believe that there is one power and presence one creative energy back of everything that there is, and that we were created in its image and likeness, out of itself in a moment of unconditional love. We believe that since that power is creative and we were created in its image, then we too have the power to create. And in fact, we are doing so each and every single day through our words, through our thoughts, through our feelings, and through our beliefs. We are creating the experiences of our lives, which for me is the really good news, because if you're not liking the experience that you're having at any given moment, then you have the power to change it. Change your thinking, change your life is not just a bumper sticker, but it's something that we truly believe in here. And again, we're very glad that you have joined us. Today, our flower dedication is dedicated to licensed spiritual practitioner Barbara Kane. It's from Diane Carnes, Carol Cross, Heather Abbott, and Reverend Dusty. They say, today we are dedicating these flowers to licensed spiritual practitioner Barbara Kane. Babs is a loving mother, wife, and loyal friend, a sensitive, caring presence, and one of the rocks of our community. She was here when TCSL was founded with Reverend Ray Matheny in the early 2000s. She has supported our center by giving in so many ways since then, including sharing her talent for creating beauty by arranging stunning decorations for our special events like Christmas Eve and New Year's. She has served in leadership capacities on our leadership council, provided prayer for our members, written home group materials, volunteered for Sunday celebration service, and so much more over all these years, often behind the scenes. We wish to celebrate you, Babs, on your birthday yesterday. Your dedication to this community and your ongoing loving involvement has been invaluable. We wish you continued blessings of peace, prosperity, and well-being. Happy birthday, dear sweet Babs. With much love, Diane, Carol, Heather, and Reverend Dusty. Thank you. I was laying out the Kleenex and I said, I better put one under Babs' chair. So speaking of the wonderful, slightly older Barbara Kane, I want to take a moment to just thank her. I said slightly. I would like to take a moment to thank her for the beautiful meditation that really expanded the container that our service will unfold within, and also to welcome her back up to the podium. Barbara Kane.
Thanks, everybody. Now let's see if I can read without getting sloppy. All right. The theme for the year 2022 is Living Everyday Wonder. Our theme for the month of August is Nature. Reverend Dusty's talk title is The Furry, the Fuzzy, the Slimy, the Scaly, and Everybody Else. I'm going to read this community's purpose statement. This is our reason for being here. Excuse me. Our reason is to inspire, educate, and empower individuals to experience themselves as unique and individualized expressions of God, the love intelligence that governs the universe. We are committed to not merely a theoretical understanding of our oneness and unity with God, but to consciously practice this truth in our everyday lives. Through celebration, service, study, and fellowship, we are committed to the transformation of our personal lives and to being a powerful and beneficial presence on the planet. With the energy of unconditional love, simply, we are here for God. And so it is. And now I'd like to ask you to close your eyes and listen to the sounds of the crystal bowls and open your hearts as these beautiful sounds wash over you. to invite you to bring your attention back into your bodies and into the room. And I would like to invite Richard Kane and Laurel Kane up to help me with the dedication of all faiths. The Triangle Center of Spiritual Living honors the diversity and threads of truth that run through all spiritual paths as represented by this ceremony. They haven't done this before, so bear with us. Nothing like putting them on the spot, right? Christianity is the path of Christ consciousness, love, and forgiveness. Buddhism is the path of compassion and understanding. Judaism is the ethical path of living by sacred law. Baha'i is the path of unity and peace. Islam is the path of submission to the will of God, the highest calling. Confucianism is the path of deliberate tradition. Taoism is the natural way, the path of ultimate reality. Native American practice and shamanic traditions are the paths of primal spirituality. Shintoism is the path of tribal ancestry. Hinduism is the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. Science of mind and spirit is the path of the divine principle of love and law. And the heart represents the one heart, the one love that resides at the center of all people and all beings everywhere, with no exceptions. May peace prevail on earth through the followers of all paths. And so it is. Thank you, Rick and Laura. And now I invite everybody to close their eyes one more time as I speak an invocation. This morning I recognize the magnificent spirit and presence of love in, as, and through each and every one of us, in, as, and through every furry, fuzzy, slimy, and so forth that lives on the planet. I recognize that this creative intelligence is constantly expanding itself, its awareness, its intelligence, and therefore we have this incredible opportunity to tap into this at every moment. And so inside of this container, I speak a blessing on our service this morning. I speak a blessing on all the volunteers that came forth to make this service possible and all the love that they bring. I speak a blessing on our beloved Reverend Dusty as she guides us, informs us, teaches us, and loves us, knowing that she is truly loved by the infinite. And I speak a blessing on our musician, Lola Youngman, today as she brings her wonderful gift of music and song, which lifts and enlightens and brings us joy. And so we gather this morning in the spirit of love, and I know that everything is in divine right order, and so it is.
So it is.
And the reading for today is part of a comprehensive statement made by the Assembly of Orthodox Bishops of the United States of America. They say, the sacredness of life is shared with all creatures and creation, fashioned and brought into existence by our mutual Creator. From single-cell organisms to plants, reptiles to birds, or mice to elephants, all are created and thus sacred. God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. Genesis 1:31. As such, it is our responsibility as human beings to treat all life accordingly, with care, reverence, humility, and love. And so it is. And now, the wonderful, beautiful, joyful Lola Youngman.
Bless the beasts and the children, for in this world they have no voice. They have no choice. Bless the beasts and the children, for the world can never be the world they see. Light their way when the darkness surrounds them. Give them love, let it shine all around them. Bless the beasts and the children, give them shelter from the storm. Keep them safe, keep them warm. Light their way when the darkness surrounds them. Give them love, let it shine all around them. Bless the beasts and the children, give them shelter from a storm. Keep them safe, keep them warm. Thank you so much. Just a little bit so that I'm not like. Well, I'd be fine if it was this side. See, this is a much better side than this side. So. Just kidding. Oh, okay. Thank you. And that handsome guy on the piano was Dave Youngman. And you tell the musicians, you work out a schedule, and then you tell them, okay, this is the theme for the month, and this is the talk title, and then you just kind of let them go, knowing that they have their own relationship with Spirit, and Spirit will let them know what the best thing to sing about is. But you never really know, and when you're given something like the Furry, the Fuzzy, the Slimy, and the Scaly, where do you go with that, right? So it was awesome. Thank you. Beautiful song. So today, as we continue to explore the wonders of nature, the underlying consideration from the message today is all of the amazing creatures that live on the planet. Hence, the furry, the fuzzy, the slimy, the scaly, and everybody else. Many of which we have never seen, and in all probability have never even heard of. Scientists don't know the exact number of species that exist on the planet to date. In fact, after several centuries of actually recording living things, researchers have only been able to actually document 1.2 million species. That's a lot of species. 1.2 million. Despite the fact, however, that the total number of species that they actually estimate is something more around the number 8.7 million. So that means the remaining 86% of the species that they estimate actually exist on the planet today have yet to be discovered. And part of the problem is that we simply can't count them all. Many of them are too small to see, while others live in really hard to get at places that are pretty inaccessible, such as deep down at the bottom of the ocean or literally inside some other living organism. I'm glad I'm not that one. Now, 3/4 of that 8.7 million are on land, while only 1/4 are in the sea, even though 70% of the Earth's surface is water. 91% of those in the sea have yet to be named and cataloged. 91%. Now, our ignorance about the true biodiversity on our planet has some real consequences. Each species is potentially a treasure trove of solutions for some of the problems that exist today. For instance, cures for diseases, or inspiration for new technologies, or sources of new materials, or providers of key ecosystem services. Despite this, we are living in an age of mass extinction. There are reports of catastrophic insect declines. Some of you might be a little bit happy about that, but wide-scale depopulation of our oceans and the loss of more than 50% of the wildlife within the span of a single human lifetime. Our current rate of biodiversity loss, with that current rate of biodiversity loss, we're almost certain that we are losing animals before we're actually able to name them, before we're actually seeing them and being able to name them and categorize them. Now, if we were to divide all of the species on Earth into two groups, the two groups would be vertebrates and invertebrates. Now, it is estimated that 97% of all the species would be invertebrates, meaning those creatures that lack backbones. Of all the invertebrates, it makes sense that insects would be the most plentiful. Vertebrate animals, including fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals, then represent a mere puny 3% of all of the species. And I know you probably don't know this and probably even want to hear it less, but the human beings make up only 0.01%. 0.01% of the entire population of all of the species on the planet to date, and yet we take up the most room, we have the biggest footprint, and we display an out of proportion arrogance when compared to the rest of the sentient beings on the planet. We human beings believe that we are the most intelligent species in the world. The reason is humans are the best at what humans do. And so, of course, we must be the most intelligent. I'm sure it makes sense to someone. So that would say then that ducks or insects or bears or birds can't write poetry. They can't drive a car. They can't fly a plane. They can't make a 5-course meal, or they can't write a screenplay, for example. So they must not be as intelligent. So in uncluttered logic, if no other species can do what species A can do better than species A, then it must mean that species A is the most intelligent. But is this true? Is it really true? Environmentalists identify something that they call anthropocentrism. Anthropocentrism. Now, this, they say, is the underlying reason for humanity's need to really dominate and develop the entire world. For some, anthropocentrism is the position that human beings are the central point of the universe. But it is also believed by some to be the assessment of reality through an exclusively human perception. Exclusively human perception. It's believed by some to be the central problem in our philosophy towards other sentient beings, to the climate, to the environment, and, well, basically to the entire planet and everything on it. The problem with anthropocentrism is not so much that of the belief that we're the center of the universe, but that we act as if we are. The evidence that traditional Western attitudes are systemically biased against non-human world is all around us. It's all around us. As long as human beings hold the belief that we are superior to other species, then we will continue to experience racism, biases, and discrimination among ourselves. So think about it. We cannot hold one thing or one species out of our hearts. We cannot say that we are better than any other sentient beings, because when we do that, we are literally holding all species out of our hearts, saying that we're better than all species, because remember, there's only one of us here. Our belief in human superiority allows for the mistreatment and the abuse of creatures that cannot protect themselves. Think about all of the animals that we subject to a lifetime of captivity, performing tricks under constant threat of physical punishment. We use animals for medical, military, and cosmetic testing, yet many of us remain clueless with regard to animal behaviors or how their societies function. And because of our ignorance, it has led us to continue to treat them with disrespect. 100,000 years ago, right? 100,000 years ago, hunting was a crucial part of the survival of a human being. Most of us no longer need to hunt for our sustenance. And because of that, hunting has basically become a violent form of recreation. Hunting disrupts ecological systems, migration and hibernation patterns, and causes intense stress to the animals themselves, and has contributed to the extinction of the animals all over the world. And this is hunting that's legal. I haven't even begun to talk about poaching, right? It's estimated that poachers kill just as many animals as are killed every year through legal hunting, but they're doing it illegally. 20,000 African elephants are killed every year. 20,000 every year for their ivory tusks. Polar bears have become endangered largely because of the climate warming, global warming, climate change, but excessive poaching has also helped significantly reduce their numbers. Animal abuse and cruelty encompass a range of behaviors, just like everything. There's a range of behaviors, right? And on one end, there's unintentional neglect that could be resolved through education, for us knowing more about the animals, understanding about the animals, right? The first two cats that I had, had already been declawed, but I didn't know how hurtful that was to the cats, and now the cats that I have now are not, right? When you know better, you do better, right? So on one end, there's this unintentional cruelty, and on the other end, there's intentional cruelty that can be result when an individual has been a victim of violence or cruelty themselves. Hurt people, hurt people, hurt people, hurt animals. And in the middle are all of those people with just a careless attitude. They're not intentional about doing anything to hurt them, but they're not necessarily doing anything to help them either. Now, for many, many centuries, we believed that we were the only species that had consciousness, the only species that were intelligent. Now, only recently we've begun to study, like only recently, like I'm talking many years, but still not hundreds of thousands of years. We've begun to study and to investigate behavior and intelligence and communication and consciousness in animals. And even more recently, we've been occupied with trying to really understand our relationship to other species. Now, for me, right, the most important, the most significant truth that we need to understand is that the same intelligence that created the galaxies, that created the stars, that created the planets, that created the moon and the sun has also created the life here on Earth. And that intelligence is at the center of everything. And through that golden thread, we are one. Put in simple terms, we share the same spiritual and biological origin. We are made of the same stuff. We are part of the same ecosystem, and we are interconnected through a shared quantum field that spans the universe and beyond. We are in relationship with it because it is what we are, and we are what it is. One and the same. That same divinity. We have to know, we really have to know with our whole being that there's only one thing happening here. One power, one presence, one intelligence, one creative energy that is manifesting itself through and as all things. It's revealing itself in a multiplicity of individualized expressions, so many that we can't even count them. There has to be a radical shift in consciousness, both individually and collectively, from the consciousness that got us here to this place, to the world as it appears to us now, to the recognition and awareness that we are fundamentally one interconnected whole. That what we do to one of us, we're doing to all of us. We're doing to one of us, we're doing to ourselves. We are one interconnected whole. Realizing and implementing oneness in all of our choices and actions is one of the best ways, if not the most important way, to really affect change in the world. It's an act of love. And love is the greatest, most powerful unifying force in the universe. Humanity has for too long seen the plant and animal kingdoms as here solely for our own purposes. This has been yet another testimony to the idea that perhaps we have forgotten our shared divinity and the amazing and magnificent diversity that is really a reflection of the presence of the divine in and through and as all things. The truth is that the kingdom of God's heaven is as varied as the stars in the sky and every bit as beautiful. Each and every single one of them reflect a particular quality or a particular aspect of the divine. Each and every single one of them. And as we spend time contemplating that oneness, then we will begin to see that life is all interconnected, and we will make different choices. Right relationship between the human and animal kingdom evolves really respect for the sacredness that exists within all of us. respect for the sacredness that exists within all of us. And this respect acknowledges that within each and every single one of us is consciousness, an aspect of the divine that connects all sentient beings one to the other in ways that can never ever be broken, in ways that invites us to treat everyone with kindness, with compassion, and with love. We have a responsibility to be caretakers of the animals and of the earth. And until we really understand the living creatures on the planet, we cannot possibly really operate from a base of compassion and respect. Unless we really understand them, get to know them better. Which is, what has been happening little by little over time. But our ignorance has not allowed us to do that in the past. So what is it that we can do now? What is it that each of us can do now in our own lives? Mahatma Gandhi said that the language of nature is simple and it's direct. All animals communicate. All animals are capable of communicating with each other and communicating with us. Watching them and listening to them are important activities in learning the language of nature and a step towards greater understanding. Now, over the last few years, I have engaged the assistance of a woman in Durham that we lovingly call the Cat Whisperer. She's a medium that has assisted me to have conversations with a couple of my beloved pets that have made their transition, and also with a living cat that I tried to adopt and to build a loving relationship with. Now, I remember that Diane is her name. I remember that Diane told me on more than one occasion that she wasn't the only one that could do this, that I too could do this. Sound a little like Jesus, right? This you can do and so much more. That I could have the ability to talk to Cash or Safari or Amadeus. As with meditation, in trying to do that, in trying to have conversations with the animals in our lives, just like meditation, it's important that we get quiet. Not always easy for us, but it's important that we get quiet so that we can become open to our intuitive connection, so that we can begin to hear that still, quiet voice, right? When we're quiet, we become more receptive. And if we remain open, then these impressions will begin to come to us. These impressions, they'll begin to cross our mind, especially when we least expect it. Like, have you ever been looking at your pet, dog, cat, fish, whatever, guinea pig? Have you ever been looking at them and just got a hit that they were trying to say something to you? So the invitation is to start, of course, with the animals that are closest to us, to trust our impressions and to keep our minds quiet from racing, from chattering, from wandering all over the place like they typically do, so that we remain open for those impressions to come to us. Start with small, simple things such as what does the animal want? Is it food or water or playtime or attention or something else? Don't judge. Don't judge yourself. Just listen. Just listen to what is coming through. Paying attention without interpreting and validating our impressions by acting on them causes them to increase. Have you ever done that about anything else in your life? Like you get a hit, like a download that you should do something, and then you do that thing. And the more you do that thing, the more you listen to your inner wisdom, then the easier it gets to hear it. It's the same with this. If you just listen, if you pay attention, if you get quiet enough to pay attention and to just watch, it will open you up to that. And the more you allow that to happen and the more you act on what you're receiving, it will cause them to increase. And you'll get better at it. And when we get more experienced and secure, we might be able to then approach other animals in the same way. The invitation is to then go out into nature and, specifically focus on the furry, the fuzzy, the slimy, and the scaly that cross your path. During our latest meditation retreat, the lovely Carol Cross facilitated what she calls her spirit walk. Now, a walk that she does every single day out in nature. A walk in which she simply observes the creatures that come into her experience. Perhaps it's a squirrel or a bird or a slug or a deer or a feather or anything else. Now, she just allows herself to stay open to any wisdom that might be there for her. Now, sometimes that wisdom might come to her right in the moment as she's walking, right as that furry, fuzzy, slimy, scaly thing walked by her. Sometimes it's right then, but other times it might be later. Later when she's in meditation, she'll hear why that particular animal showed up for her on that day. What is the wisdom that it has for her in her life? There's also many different kinds of resources that you can go to look at, okay, what does an otter signify? Maybe being more playful in your life. So there are many different things and resources that you can have to take a look at that, to begin to understand a little bit more about what the animals are trying to tell us. Because I believe that they are trying to tell us something. We are all interconnected, right? They have some wisdom that they probably realize that if they imparted to us, that their world would be better because of it. So I'm imagining that they might want to share that. Chief Letakos Lessa of the Pawnees says, "In the beginning of all things, wisdom and knowledge were with the animals. For Tira, the one above, did not speak directly to man. He sent certain animals to tell man that he showed himself through the beasts, and that from them and from the stars and the sun and the moon, that man should learn." Now, most people dismiss what they feel or what they suspect or what they hear, what they intuit, especially if others tell them it's nonsense. I've had more than one people tell me, "You're crazy." Now, the invitation is to ignore them. Just ignore them. Have fun. And to acknowledge the hunches and the impressions and the experiences that come to us. Things will get easier as we do so. As the process becomes second nature, then animals will continue to keep coming up to tell us something. The invitation is to remember to pay attention. Pay attention. The planet is awakening. I really believe that. Sometimes it feels like it's going to hell in a handbasket, but I really believe that it is awakening and that we are all being called to raise our own consciousness. And if we are to make a change, then we have to be willing to look at our old thoughts and our old beliefs and to examine them with a willingness to understand and a willingness to grow, a willingness to evolve. The bottom line is that our kinship with animals has perhaps always been fragmented, but it's not too late to embrace a new paradigm. principle is not bound by precedent. It's not too late for us, for them, for the planet. It's not too late. We live on Earth, but are we living as one? In harmony with the planet, with nature, and with all living things, including ourselves. Are we living in harmony? If we truly believe that God is all that there is, then let's live in a way that reflects that truth. Let's move from just saying the words to understanding how this truth shows up in our lives on a day-to-day basis, and to finally make a daily sustainable change. Now, there's many different ways to make a difference, right? We can give love, all kinds of love. I'm always loving up my cat. Give love to the family pet. Adopt an animal from a shelter. There are so many of them that need and want adoption. Support animal conservation efforts. Explore animal activism, and consider perhaps becoming a vegetarian or a vegan. And if not as a lifestyle change, then perhaps just one day a week. It makes a difference. The invitation is to be curious, to educate ourselves. There's so many different YouTubes and books and conversations that are being had about animals and about what we can do. The last Wednesday of the month, we're showing a movie called A Life on the Planet, on this planet, by David Attenborough, who, if you've ever seen any of his other documentaries, they are amazing. And this one is based on his book, and it's beautiful. It's the Lodge at Crossroads, Wednesday night, the 31st of August, 6:30 to 9:30 or so. And then to really intuit what's ours, what is mine to do. You know, everything isn't everybody's to do. So intuit what is your personal thing to do. The invitation is to ask ourselves what we can do to help the damage that humanity has already caused. What responsibility do we have to not only reverse climate change and deforestation and the cleaning of the oceans and the halting of species extinction, but to ensure that the habits and the practices and the choices that brought us to this crisis point are not repeated by future generations. This month, the invitation is to spend more time out in nature, noticing the beauty, smelling the aliveness, hugging a tree, feeling the connection that we have with all of it. Recognizing that the deepest fabric of the entire universe is composed of pure, unadulterated, unconditional love, and that love emanates from each and every single sentient being on the planet, each and every day, in all situations, in all moments. That love is there, it is present. This month, the invitation is to align ourselves with the wisdom of the indigenous people, such as the Native Americans, who center the sacred in nature. The human being is not in the center. The sacred is in the center. Recognizing that no one or no thing is superior to anything or anyone else, and then find a way to be in harmony with all of it. Your way. This month, the invitation is to open our hearts and our minds and our consciousness to the wisdom of the animals on the planet, no matter our relationship with them, whether they live with us in our homes or they pass us on the greenway. To keep ourselves available to the conversations that they are wanting to have with us. This month, the invitation is to open our eyes and notice all of the furry, fuzzy, slimy, and scaly creatures that we share this planet with. And to explore and deepen our connection with the presence of the divinity that is within each and every single one of them, and that reflects itself in each and every single one of them. And I believe, I really truly believe, that if we do so, that we will enhance our ability to actually create a world that works for everyone. And I mean everyone. And so it is. So I just invite everyone to turn within. It is here with my eyes closed that I recognize that divine presence. I truly know in this moment, I feel it with every fiber of my being that it is within me. And what I know beyond a shadow of doubt is that it cannot just be in me. That there is no place where God is not. And so that presence, that power, that energy, that divinity must be in everything and everyone. It is at the core of all things seen and all things unseen. From the depths of the ocean to inside that other living organism, everything has within it a spark of the divine. And because of that, we are all connected one to the other. That truly there is only one of us here. And it's from that place of unity that I speak these words about and for each of us today, really calling in, claiming, affirming, declaring that each and every single one of us can have a new, profound relationship with not only the animals in our lives, but the animals that cross our paths. That from this moment on, we can allow ourselves to be quiet enough, to be receptive enough, to be open enough to hear what every living thing is trying to say to us. Be it furry or fuzzy or scaly or slimy, that we are open to hear it all, knowing that that wisdom can only add to the experience, our experience on the planet. That wisdom can only raise us up, individually and collectively. That wisdom can open us up to new relationships with everything on the planet. And that by doing so, we truly create a world that works for everyone. And I'm so grateful to know this truth and to speak these words. So grateful for the power of prayer, knowing that these words are loosed into a law that only ever says yes. That my words are clothed in form even as they are spoken. And so I speak them and I release them into that law. Letting go and letting God be God, I invite all of us to anchor these words for ourselves, for each other, for our community, for all sentient beings on the planet, and for that entire unified whole. Simply by saying, and so it is. And so it is. Amen. Thank you all so very much. It is now time for our conscious giving. The Triangle Center for Spiritual Living is sustained by the giving of our time, talent, and treasure. And this is a time every week when we offer our financial support to assist this community to continue to be a beacon of light and warmth and love in the Greater Triangle area. Together we affirm that today's offering lifts this spiritual community, prospers the one giving, and adds to the experience of sufficiency on the planet. There are several ways that you can give, and they are here on on the website or on your screen at home. Visit our website at www.trianglecsl.org. Text the word give with the following number 919-230-8445, or you can mail your gift to our office, PO Box 4062, Cary, North Carolina 27519. Now I just invite you to please take your gift or place your hand with an intention on your heart and repeat in a call and response our offering affirmation. I live in an abundant universe that blesses and prospers my life. I give with gratitude, knowing that God is my source. And so it is. Please welcome Lola and Dave Youngman back to the piano.
Are really speak to me, and I hope they will to you, especially the first couple of lines about the arrogance that people can have. So I would invite you to listen to the words. You think you own whatever land you land on. The earth is just a dead thing you can claim. But I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name. You think the only people who are people are the people who look and think like you. But if you walk the footsteps of a stranger, you'll learn things you never knew, Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon? Or ask the grinning bobcat why he grinned? Can you sing with all the voices of the mountains? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Come run the hidden pine trails of the forest. Come taste the sun-sweet berries of the earth. Come roll in all the riches all around you. This song is getting me, I'm sorry. And for once, never wonder what they're worth. The rainstorm and the river are my brothers. The heron and the otter are my friends. We are all connected to each other in a circle, in a hoop that never ends. Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon? Or ask the grinning bobcat why he grinned? Dusty, you did this to me. Can you sing with all the voices of the mountains? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? I'm just getting worse. How high will the sycamore grow if you cut it down? Then we'll never know and you'll never hear the wolf cry to the blue corn moon. For whether we are white or copper skinned, we need to sing with all the voices of the mountains. We need to paint with all the colors of the wind. You can own the earth and still all you own is earth until you can paint with all the colors of the wind. I'm sorry. Thank you so much. I wanted I wanted to make a brief announcement that has nothing to do with this. It's just some of you were planning on coming to Fletcher Park today to hear us sing. My a cappella group was planning on singing there, but the place has been changed. It's changed to Pullen Park, and the time has been changed. It's now from 5 to 7. And the weather probably won't change enough to make it happen, so it's probably not going to happen anyway. But just in case you were going to come, I just wanted to tell you so you don't go to the wrong place or the wrong time. And also, this Thursday night, we're all singing the national anthem at the Durham Bulls game. So if you feel like coming, come on along. That might be better weather that night. So anyway, thank you.
Lola, Carol and I welcome you to the Sisterhood of the Verklempt Sisters. That emotion is real, folks. Okay, if anyone would like prayer, please go to our website at trianglecsl.org. On the homepage, there is a button in the upper right-hand corner. Click on that button and fill in the request form. We will get that prayer and send it out to all of the ministers and the practitioners. And we will pray for you and expect a miracle. If anyone would like to dedicate a flower dedication to anyone for anything, please contact Heather Abbott at info@trianglecsl.org or Reverend Dusty at dustyrippelmeyer@yahoo.com. For those of us that are watching you from the comfort, those of you watching us from the comfort of your own home, we would like to personally invite all of you to come and join us in person at our new home right here, 4 Points by Sheraton at 1200 Clarence Circle in Morrisville. Please consider allowing us to properly welcome you home. Meditation is at 9:45 and the service is at 10:15. And you'll find the building between the Hooters and the Bojangles. Oh, Lord. Oh, dear. Okay. We have 5 Wednesdays in the month of August. So Wednesday, August 31st, we will celebrate the theme of the month, this Dusty already talked about, nature, with a showing of the amazing documentary by David Attenborough called A Life on the Planet. It is said that this one man has seen more of the natural world than any other person in history. David Attenborough has written a wonderful book. This is his witness statement, and the movie is a powerful representation of the book. Join us at the Lodge at Crossroads, 200 Brisbane Woods Way in Cary from 6:30 to 9:30 for the movie and for fellowship. Please bring a snack to share and whatever you would like to drink. Please mark your calendars for our September social event. It is none other than our amazing game night. It will be held Friday, September 9th from 6:30 to 9:30 at the Lodge at Crossroads. Once again, 200 Brisbane Woods in Cary's. And it is a spectacularly fun evening with lots of laughter and tomfoolery. It's true, though. Please bring a snack to share and whatever you'd like to drink to join in the festivities. And now, in the comfort of your own home or here, please stand and join me for our August affirmation. It's a call and response. Please say it with meaning and repeat after me. I am one with all of life on planet Earth.
I am one with all of life on planet Earth.
Deeply connected with all of nature, I am grateful for the waters of life that sustain me.
Deeply connected with all of nature, I am grateful for the waters of life that sustain me.
Truly believing that God is all there is, I know that all of life is sacred.
Truly believing that God is all there is, I know that all of life is sacred.
Knowing that all of life is sacred, I say yes to deepening my connection with all of it.
Knowing that all of life is sacred, I say yes to deepening my connection with all of it.
Affirming that everything on the planet is a vital part of this living ecosystem, I choose to live harmoniously with all of it.
Affirming that everything on the planet is a vital part of this living ecosystem, I choose to live harmoniously with all of it.
Today I report for duty to nurture and protect planet Earth.
Today I report for duty to nurture and protect planet Earth.
I join like-minded individuals in support of a worthy and noble cause.
I join like-minded individuals in support of a worthy and noble cause.
And all is well.
And all is well.
And so it is.
And so it is.
And now I'd like to invite you to have a seat and turn within and close your outer eyes if you feel comfortable doing so. And I recognize the magnificence of infinite intelligence. Just trying to imagine what infinite intelligence is and thinking about its constant creation of new worlds, new planets, new galaxies, new life forms, means to me that since we are in as and of this infinite intelligence, it opens up the door to not only the perfect right relationship with every being on this planet, but also to infinite possibilities in relationship to those beings, infinite possibilities to the relationship with other people, infinite possibilities to our relationship to this world, to our lives, to every aspect of our lives. And so what an amazing way to think, to open our minds, to realize that there are brilliant opportunities at every step, every turn, every moment. And I'm so deeply grateful to know that we are a part of this. So deeply grateful to know that our lives are an expression of this infinite intelligence and that our relationships can be constantly creating newly with every other being on the planet and with everything in our lives. And so I'm deeply grateful to know that this is the truth of who and what we are. And I release this word into the law of love, the law that only ever says yes. And so it is.
And so it is. So I just invite everyone to stand, and we will hopefully be able to sing our closing congregational song with the lovely Cindy Johnson. You have the words in front of you, and they'll also be on the screen, but hopefully. Volume turned up on the computer. You're laughing. Why? Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Woo! You guys sounded wonderful. Thank you all for your patience as we work out the bugs in our new home. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for allowing us to join you in your homes today. Have a really magnificent day and a wonderful week. I love you all.